No, so the black experience, fuck introductions. Again, I'm done with fucking structure. Life is already structured.
Shit.
Life is structured. I'm fucking over it. We're gonna go back to what I wanted this thing to be, which is we just say get it off your chest. And if we're gonna talk about the black experience, then let's talk about the black experience. But ain't no structure. We're gonna say what we want to say. When we want to say it, we're gonna interrupt each other. We're gonna be all kinds of nigga in here, and we just gonna have a good fucking time.
I feel like that's
What's up, Richie?
What's going on, man?
So shit, but no, I gave them a brief rundown of our last talking. I was texting Anthony earlier, and I just told him I woke up today just like not really caring if anybody came on live today or not. Like, you know, I didn't care no more because it wasn't how I wanted this to be, and it started making me feel like everything else in life that I started this particular way, and then it had to be remixed and built up and pushed down and edited. And it's like, okay, well, Anthony, he's the editor. He edits pictures. He edits videos. I'm not no fucking editor. And I don't want to be edited.
It's the raw shit. But anyway,
but the black experience. Go ahead.
Forget about this guy. It's Tuesday morning. He's always Tuesday afternoon. He's always nagging. So what do you mean by black experience, bro? You mean black?
Not bleak, nigga, black.
I said
no. So one thing that bothers me a lot is whether I'm watching TV or I'm hearing people who aren't black trying to tell me about the black experience, and I'm like, one, get people who sit back and judge people, and they say they get tired of hearing about black people complaining about this. They get tired of hearing black people talk about this or talk about that, and trying to tell me how we should live our lives, the things that we're doing wrong. And it's like, one, how can you speak about something you know nothing about? You weren't born black. You weren't born within a black culture, black community. You never walked a day in the life of a black person. So how can you sit there and make decisions or judgment or something you know nothing about? And whether I'm watching TV or I listen to people who think they know, and it really pisses me off. And so that's one thing I've always want to talk about with the black experience. You know, because every black person within this country, I'll keep it within this country, has had a different experience. Whether it be, and in every state you go to, the experience will be different. Me, I'm from the East Coast, the southern tip between Virginia and North Carolina. So my experience is going to be in a family who dealt with racism, who dealt with skinheads, and hearing the stories about KKK burning crosses in the family in front of their home and stuff like that. And when I come to the West Coast, Cali, and I hear people talking about, oh, you know, here's an angry black guy. It's like, man, shut the fuck up. And I'm tired of hearing people open their mouth, talk about something they truly know nothing about. You know,
I look at this, bro. I forget who I was talking to it about. Hell, it might have been Rich, or hell, it might have been you. I don't remember. But there's certain questions that no other race can ask us, just like we can't ask certain things of any other races, any other race. And something such as a lot of things you pointed out are exactly it. Like, to comment on things that they have nothing about. And even if it was a white boy that grew up in the ghetto with nothing around black, like we'll say Eminem and 8 Mile or whatever, there's still things that he can't ask somebody on, hey, Negro, why do you act like this? Why do you do this? Why do y'all do that? And it's like, wait a minute. But what I love about the whole black experience thing is, hey, I'm black and I can ask them fucking questions, because somebody that I associate with, they said something the other day and it actually made me pretty offensive. Like, not offensive, but I got a little offended. They said when building a certain organization, we were looking for, or building a certain group of people to do some stuff, we're looking for people that were black, no other race. And I was like, why? What's with this whole only black thing? And they said, because how would it look if we're trying to do this, and then you got this white boy that act ghetto, or this uppity up suit and turd shot white boy that's in it. And I was like, so pretty much you're saying, I was like, so they need to be black and act black. He was like, yeah. I said, okay, so can you please describe to me what is acting black? And he sat there and he looked at me like I was being a smart ass, because I was, but I was serious at the same time too. Show me what acting black is.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know what it is, just being yourself. I said, no, what you're pretty much saying is we need to live up to the stereotype. You're saying that we need to prove the negative white stereotypes correct and act out of pocket. Mm-hmm. And that's the shit I don't like, because I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. Do I sound like it? No. To me, I don't have an accent, but to other people I ask, I don't have an accent. My mom brought me up to not have that strong of an accent to where people couldn't understand you. To open my mouth when I talk and actually enunciate my words. And don't carry. So why do my pants need to go all the way to my fucking ankles? They don't. So if that's the stereotype, I don't even fit it. I don't like. Yeah, I don't like macaroni salad. So am I failing at black? You know what I mean? I don't eat coleslaw. Am I failing? You know, but it's like but it's shit like that though that bugs me, because it's almost like I can ask, hey, why ain't you acting African?
Hey, what that spirit?
No, you're absolutely right, bro. I don't know. So when people say like, let's do like, you know, the blackness or whatever, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how people understand saying stuff like that, right? Because all it is, as you said, all it is you have a certain ideology about me that I am not performing, so you think that I'm not that black enough, right? Mm. I know you guys told you the story about before you open your mouth, they already had a prejudgment of you, right? Yeah. So they're just waiting for you to fall into those.
Oh, there you go. Just hit ashtray. Yeah. There you go.
Hey. So the moment you open your mouth, they already have their perceived notion of you that, oh yeah, he's about to go ghetto, because that's how we known to be. That's how we known to talk. So as soon as you start speaking, then they go, oh,
they're more. They take it more of a step back like, when you don't show your ass.
There was this officer. He was saying some stuff, and I made a comment. And he goes, huh? I didn't expect you to know that. I'm like, oh shit.
But I'm gonna hit something. I swear to you, get back to it. Andy, you were saying something earlier about people will say other races not knowing what the black experience is, and pretty much everybody black, we have our own different experiences. Not only are you right, but I think something that irks me 10 times more than another race talking about experiences that they have none in, with being my skin tone, my shade, is other black people trying to tell me what our culture is and isn't, and what our experience is and isn't. And because it's like you said earlier, when you were talking about being from the East and then coming to California, it's like, you know, knowing people from Inglewood all the way to the Bay, all the way down as far as San Diego, knowing different blacks from all up. When they tell me their experiences with racism, a lot of times I can look at them like, bro, that ain't shit. But a lot of times they really preaching at me. They ain't talking to me. They ain't talking to me. They're talking at me. They're preaching to me that this is pretty much this is the only experience, you know? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, nigga, y'all had the Watts riot. Like, come on. Like, y'all had the Rodney King movie. Like, look, half of you motherfuckers don't even know why they was rioting other than Rodney King, or they was about to go steal some shoes. They got a documentary.
Half of them know about the original Watts riot, the first race Watts riot.
What, man? Like,
the best one is when somebody goes, hey, let me tell you about Africa. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, oh shit, let me hear this. You know, like, I'm curious. Like, at this point, How you gonna tell me somebody that lived there, grew up over there? You gonna tell me about something that you read in the book or you watch in National Geographic? If it's not about we living on trees, I don't want to hear it. No, but honestly, that's a lot of people have. There's this misconception about how Black people are supposed to act. So as soon as you start talking, they go crazy, and then they always base their stuff on the things they watch on TV, the things they see. Like media plays a vital role. We shouldn't ignore the capability that the media has over individuals, right? So if you're not a forward thinker, or if you're not somebody that think for yourself, you will always succumb to the needs of the media, and that's the biggest problem right there.
I spend the majority of my time, though, it's simply this, because I know I will never be able to fix the situation personally. I can be a part of the change, but I will never be the change of turning their idea of how Blacks are supposed to act and why we do what we do.
Well, that's the problem. People go and say, well, why don't Black people do this? Why don't Black people do that?
I just enjoy the shock. Because first off, you know me. You know I'll flip my fucking lid in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love the shock on people's face when they think I'm about to flip my lid, and I just sit there and look at them, and I just like, you know, I know in my head, like I'm going insane because I just want to slap you right in the mouth. But I'm gonna sit here and be a professional and just be like, okay, we're good then. So we're good. You got that off your chest, and then I'll kind of like lead them on to it. On, do you want to hear my side of it? Do you want to hear my point of view? And if you don't, that's okay. But if you don't want to hear my point of view, that means I'm done associating myself with you too. So that's how I navigate around it. It was greatly. I was frustrated a long time when people want to talk about the whole Black experience. I'm like, what the fuck? Please, I want another nigga to tell me what the Black experience is.
What I'm waiting
like,
for.
I'm waiting on that shit alone, let alone a white boy to tell me what the Black experience is. Like, I like you from down there in Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina. Y'all a whole nother goddamn own race up there. Y'all ain't even regular Blacks, in my opinion. Like, and then you got Florida. Holy shit! Damn, Florida. That's like, look, I'm starting to think we got about 19 different races of African American in itself.
I mean, you know what? To be fair, don't forget we're the original ones that came to America. Historically, everybody came to Virginia first. Remember that.
You boldly gonna sit here and claim you're the first slave, like what?
No, what you think, Rich, Latoya, JJ? What do y'all think? Like, what drives like insane? Because that it gets me. Because look, I look at Florida. You got a bunch of Haitians down there. You look at Louisiana and Mississippi. You got Pig Latin out the ass, and it's like, all right, so y'all Hispanic or y'all niggas? Because y'all speaking some shit that, Lord.
Being from Louisiana, we Black. Like, I feel like
that's formally, we concreting that shit right now. Black.
We Black. We Black. Listen, we Black. I don't care what the derivative is. I don't care what the formula is. Listen, whatever you was mixed with never stopped a bigot, never stopped the racist from calling you a nigga. You Black. Point blank, period. That's my take on it. That's always been my take on it. Yeah, you can be other things as well, but you need to recognize that you Black. When it comes to the Black experience, go ahead.
So I heard y'all Creole. I've been told y'all Creole, y'all ain't Black.
Why you gotta say that?
But we still Black though. We still Black. My grandfather, my daddy to this day live on a reservation. He Black. Oh, wow. He Black. He black. He Black.
I mean,
that's the Black man.
No.
Better than that.
So with that being said, like the whole concept of a Black experience, everybody's experience is different. Yeah, we have a lot of similarities when it comes to how we was raised and things that we may have experienced, the things that we may have witnessed or seen when it comes to traditions and whatnot. So yeah, we could have a shared experience, but everybody's Black experience is individualized in a sense, whereas it's to that person. But it goes back to the conversation of what culture really is. Like, yeah, I claim myself to be a Black woman. I claim myself to be a woman from New Orleans. New Orleans have a lot to do with, it's very culturally significant in my personal Black experience. So it just depends. Like, as long as you know, like I said, you Black at the end of the day. You're still able to stake claim to the different parts of you, and that doesn't mean that you have to just negate every other part of you. Because when I go visit my grandpa, I do the traditional stuff that we supposed to do or whatnot. But at the end of the day, I'm Black. Like, I don't know what it's like to be somebody else.
You do.
What don't make you? You already Black. I don't
Look. Down in Georgia, down in Florida, down like you got alligator hunting, you got deer hunting, you got hog hunting, all over this damn country. But as soon as you hit certain borders in certain states, you hunt. Well, yeah. Why wouldn't I? Because you Black. Wait, what?
Right. It's just a stigmatism. It's like we've been brainwashed on what being Black really is. Like, you would never see a white person and be like, oh my gosh, you hunt. Because either you hunt or you don't hunt. I mean, it is what it is. There wouldn't just be a shock factor. Like, oh my gosh, you hunt? Oh, I can't believe it because you're white. I was watching an interview a couple of weeks ago, and it's an old interview of Kevin Gates when he first came on the scene. And he was saying about he reads. And the interviewer was like, what? You read? Really? You read? And you could see that he instantly got offended. It's like, what? I'm not supposed to read because I'm a Black. I'm not supposed to read because I'm a rapper. Like, and the interview was like, because I mean, niggas don't read, man. I'm like, are you serious? Like, why would you really say this? But I feel like we've been brainwashed into what we think Blackness is.
You know what I think it is? I think if you don't like, look, I love him to death. I listen to all his music. Lil Boosie, if you ever hear this shit, love you to death, bro. Don't send the boys out after me. But you my nigga, but you a whole nigga. Like, I think if you don't act like Lil Boosie, I think that's where you're wrong.
So wait. So there's there's degrees in you being Black. Is that what? That's
no.
What
like, look.
No, I know. Like, okay, so
that's what we've been forced to believe. That's what we've been forced to believe.
Like,
that doesn't mean it's true.
Right? Nigga, no. Lil Boosie is on some other shit.
But then again, like, this is what I don't understand, right? Like, it's not. So it has nothing to do with the color of your skin.
I think it's how you act. I think that's where even white, Black, Hispanic, when you associate Black, I think it's a certain attitude. It's a certain style.
But those can be copied.
No, it can be copied. But look at how many times. What were we talking about the other day when it was like appropriation? That last week, right? It was appropriation. So if a white person dressed Black, we tend to get offended, right? If a black or a white person dresses, we'll say Hispanic, like, you know, Dickies all the way up to the belly button and sitting in the square like that whole night, they'll probably get offended. That's the stereotype. So how you act, what's your style? They equate that is culture, that is history and tradition, and it's like none of this is really a thing. Like it may be dated, but that don't make you as an individual. But that's what they associate every single person of color.
Well, that's the problem with being American in this country is we honestly don't know what culture is, what it means, because we tend to associate style to a culture, to a race. And it's stupid. You know, we within this country, we're a mixture, like we said last week, we're a mixture of so many different cultures that we don't have our own culture. You go to Japan, you go to China, you go to Europe, anywhere else in the world, they actually have culture. You come to the U.S., we're a mixture. People come here and confused, like, what the hell do I do? Do I look you in the eyes? Do I talk to you? Do I shake your hand? Do not shake your hand? It's like, do I talk to women? Do not talk to women? So people who aren't used to the American way of life, they're just like, man, America's jacked the hell up because there is no one set standards to anything that we do in this country. But we're so quick within ourselves. We point at it and say, hey, the way he dressed, that's a Black thing. The way they talk.
I did my ancestry. I got 1% of Mexican in me. So I'm changing my damn name. I'm doing all kinds of shit. Taco Tuesday. We need to hurry the fuck up because I need to go get my burrito on, my taco.
But the funny thing is too, like I said before, and I've talked to George about it, is growing up as a kid, borderline between Virginia and North Carolina, going to school, and then talking about Africa. I didn't know there were light-skinned Africans. I didn't know Africans came in different skin tones. And so, like, you got the first woman I saw who was from Sudan, she was light-skinned as hell. I was like, where are you from? I'm from Africa. What? And you start seeing all these different ranges of like skin tones from Africans from the motherland. I'm like, damn, okay. And I was like, man, ignorance, American way of life. I had this one mindset, and when you don't know, you really don't know.
But that's why I challenge religion, history, and like all these different in science, all in one. I challenge them all because a lot of the schools that I've been to, they say the pigmentation of the skin, history wise, is your body was adapting to the environment that was around. And that was like, wait a minute, because you got white people up and down that identify as African. What is it? What's the one in Australia? Indigenous, Aborigines. You got light skin everywhere. You got extra dark everywhere. You got caramel and shit like all over. So nothing is really specific. So I learned that science is out the window. But then
so science isn't out the window. Science actually is the one true fact you can look at and say melanin. So when it comes to melanin and science and genetics, you have to look at that black people are the only race on this planet who's able to have different colored children. Black people can have kids that have blonde hair and blue eyes. You have black people that have dark skin, have light skin. Any other race, look at the white race to be specific, they're not able to produce children of different shades and color.
I'm convinced, by the way, Caucasian is not a race based off of the last book that I read. I'll get in a little bit. Caucasian is not a race. It is a different form of albino.
Yes, genetic. Well, I'm not going to go there. I know what you're talking about. I read that stuff too, but people argue that and say no, whatever, not this, not that.
All
right, cool.
Kind of going back to what Anthony was saying, though.
No.
Hold on.
Kind of going back to what Anthony said, though. It's not necessarily based on Africa, the continent. It's more so the equator line. So the closer to the equator line that you originated from, the darker you were. The further away from the equator line you were, the lighter you were. So if you go to South Africa, that's closer to the South Pole, then you begin to see their pigmentation fade because they're not closest to the hottest part of the earth. So that's what they were saying as far as scientifically. But if you look at it more so on an overall global standpoint of view, just kind of saying, okay, what is this experience? Is it because of the color of my skin, or is it what people as a whole within the Black community say this is who we are, or this is what TV say who we are? You know what I mean? So it's like, for me, I agree with Latoya on this, where the Black experience, the Black culture is, Black experience is individualized. It is on your own perspective and where you grew up and what kind of neighborhood you grew up in. For someone that grew up in the country, their experience is going to be completely different from mine, who grew up in an urban area where I had to learn certain things. For example, you and I, Marcus, we were talking about it. Growing up in my neighborhood, you can't never be seen to be soft. So what the culture of that was, and my experience was, you have to haul off and hit somebody in school to establish the fact that I'm somebody not to be messed with. Where in the country, you might not necessarily have to do that because everybody knows everybody. So my experience would be got a different level of
something wrong with them.
Well, that's true, but it just depends on like culturally, like where I grew up in a really rough neighborhood. So it was a lot of stuff that I had to learn at an early age, early as elementary school, how to defend myself, how to identify a weapon to use walking home. Now, is that right? No, but is that my experience? Yes, that's my Black experience. So for Latoya, JT, Anthony, you, George, that's a completely different experience based off of where you grew up at.
What up, JT?
Yo, it was
Go ahead.
good.
What's your
So,
experience?
So let me like try to clarify something real quick. Dr. Umar said you can't mix white milk and chocolate milk and think that it's gonna still be white milk. So it doesn't matter. Like 1 ounce, it is what it is. And that's the logic that I buy into. If people don't buy into it, that's on them. That really got nothing to do with me. I do believe that as people of color, black people, whatever you want to call us, do possess the mother gene, just like Ant was talking about how we are able to produce every different shade, color, whatever you want. We're able to produce that, whether our counterparts don't have the capacity to be able to do that. In terms of black experiences, there are going to be different. I agree with everybody. Like, growing up, in particular areas, you learn different survival techniques. I think it's ignorant of people to assume that you don't do something just because it's been, stereotypical that we may or may not do that based on whatever your experience was and your ignorance. One of the things that I do want to bring up and kind of challenge on is this idea where we talk about America is a melting pot and we got all these different cultures and things like that. But we talk about other countries. When you go to other countries, you do exactly what is socially acceptable there. Like you don't do anything different. Whether like pictures, I've seen people that go to Dubai, they put the regalia on and stuff like that. Or if you go to China, there are certain customs and practices that you engage in. You don't disrespect those people. So coming to this side, of the world, and people are like, well, I don't know if I should do this or I should do that. And then we blatantly disrespect people and then we feel like it's okay. But you won't go to another country and do that. But here you'll go and do whatever the hell you want to do and disrespect people and then feel like, well, we're in America, we should be able to do that. Well, you can't go to somebody else's country and do that. So why is it socially acceptable and appropriate here that we disrespect people and culturally the things that they do and the traditions that they practice? I understand that, we have a gumbo of people, but, if you go to Miami, you have a Chinatown or a Little Haiti or something like that. You ain't finna disrespect them people over there, in South Miami or whatever it is. Just like if I go to my hood in the muck, there's certain things that we do in the muck that it's acceptable. You're not finna try nobody in the muck like that. Just like over here in West Palm Beach, there's certain areas you ain't gonna really try like that. There's certain areas you respect. As my mama would say, respect is given to anybody, including the dog. And I think that in this country, because we were founded on this hateful disrespect and disregard for human life, we don't care how we treat people, and we don't care about traditionally what their customs are and their traditions. And then we'll take things and, steal it, borrow it or whatever, and then make it our own and say, well, you got to accept this because I said so. Well, who the fuck said that? That's my 2 cents.
I want to point something out because this has bothered me a long time. We got a little Chinatown. We got Chinatowns all over this damn country. Mm-hmm. We got little Italy's. We got little Hades. We got, we got all these littles out there. But I ain't never seen a straight up little Africa, the continent, just fucking represented. Where
you ain't been to DC. Go to DC.
Hey, no, look.
I've been to DC. I see.
Just like Florida, a different breed. DC, there's a reason why they just got the right to vote. Because they don't know how to act out there.
One thing, Marcus, that we have to bring up too, that anytime people of color, black people come together to build anything, they blow it up. So you're never really gonna see a little Africa or a little whatever. Anything that's really pro-black is if people feel like it's anti-white. So anytime black people come together collectively for the greater good of their own people, they're going to blow it up. They're going to tell.
I want to ask you something on that though. I want to ask you something because you hit a damn good mark. You say anything that black people all come together, it's gonna look as anti-white, right? But it's the same fold when white people come together and do something. We look at it as not anti-Hispanic, not anti-Muslim. We look at it as anti-black from the black side, anti-black. We take just as much offense to things as white people do, but we play the victim side of it.
We don't play the victim. Historically, we've been mistreated. Historically, we have had.
I'm not challenging that. Historically, we've been mistreated, but you and me, Anthony, Latoya, Rich, we have also got. Even if we've experienced some mistreatment, we've also got the spoils that our ancestors or our forefathers did not get.
So we got to address really what luxuries you really want to refer to, because we can still look at the manifestations of those mistreatment. Like, I'm not really far removed from being called a nigga and being discriminated against in the workforce, bro. Like, I deal with that. I'm damn near every day almost. And we're talking about 2020. So go ahead.
But look at there was a point in time in history where blacks couldn't necessarily go to school. We was self-taught or taught based off of what our mama or our daddy knew, to where now in America, you got to have it like school. Your kids is getting pulled from you if you don't enroll your kids into school, whether it's on not online, but stay at home school. What do you call it? Homeschooling or public school, charter school, whatever. Your kids got to go to school.
Okay.
We've gained some. I'm not saying that by no way, shape, or form we don't have a lot of work to do, because damn right we do. But we gotta have people stop focusing on how much we didn't have, acknowledge what we do have, and then move forward to what else we want.
Well, the issue that
I'm gonna have to jump in on that one.
Go ahead, Rich, because I was from the file. Go ahead.
I'm gonna have to jump in, and that's where you get into privilege. All right. So yeah, it's okay. For example, me being a therapist, right? I have to pay damn near $5,000 to become a licensed therapist after going to school and getting my degree. So if I come from a poor family and my ambition is to become a doctor or a therapist or anything that requires a license, guess what? I have to work 20 some odd years to save up, because don't forget that I have to eat, I have to pay rent, I have to pay bills in order to save up to become a therapist that I went to school for or become a doctor. Whereas when you have it, you graduate school, your parents cutting you a check for the amount that it costs to become a doctor or to become a lawyer to get that license, which is then you're talking about, again, privilege. So yeah, we can't talk about what we don't have and what we didn't have from before, but to have that leg up or to even be at the starting line, you can't continue to say just build, create, when every time you're building, you're creating, it's like it's taken from under you. You have, for you to become a director or for you to become a general, you have to take 50 more steps than the white guy that just walked into the office and said, hey, I want to be a general today. Or, hey, you're good at leading these people over here. You have zero IT experience, but we're going to hire you for this position. I'm not going to hire Marcus, even though Marcus have 10 plus years as an IT manager. He did this in the military. He have a top secret clearance. I'm going to hire you, Jim, over here with no clearance for this job and say, now, here it is. So even though you have the talent and skill, because he have that privilege, he's able to walk through that door, and not to just look at it that way and just say, okay, because I'm black, that's it. No, it's the whole spectrum of being a part of it. And I can personally say for myself, being a director for the National Guard and walking in the room and being the only African-American in that room, male, again, I told the story before, being disrespected. They're not even looking at the work that I did, and walk out. And when I left the company, a white woman came in, picked up what I did, literally just submitted my same work, and was receiving accolades for something that I've done. That's what I'm talking about with privilege and having that leg up. And can I be butthurt about it? No, I can't. But is it fair to me? Fuck no, it's not fair to me, because I created that. That was stolen from me, and I was made to be the victim in the situation, so much so that you have me to sign a document in order to receive my pay afterwards to say, you know what? You can't claim racism. You can't do this, or we won't give you your severance package. So please sign this waiver to waive your rights to sue us for this practice that we just committed to you. Like, that's what I'm talking about as far as privilege and having that ability to do what you gotta do. Again, Mark is kind of looking at this woman who didn't know shit about shit, who had the position before I had the position, comes back, pick up everything that I created, and now is entitled to my work. And being able to have that platform that I created.
I can dig it. My thing is, matter of fact, before I even get started, Anthony, Latoya, let me get your takes on it.
My take is that we have two main issues. The first being is we live in a capitalistic society, and the second issue is that we live in a separatist society. And the way that those come together isn't a manifestation of other people's success. And what I mean by that is, a while ago, I watched a documentary, and it's called Chinese in the Delta, right? And it gives the history of how Chinese American people were able to come into the South, the Mississippi Delta, Mississippi, Louisiana, and those surrounding areas, and establish their own shops and small businesses. Why? Because at the time in the 40s and 50s and 60s, white-owned stores were not servicing Black people. So where did the Black people have to shop? Where could they shop? They would go to the Asian shops, right? Because they were privileged to be in the middle of that separatist society, and they were able to capitalize on that opportunity. So when we look back at the historic significance of why we have so many Asian shops, or why we have so many little thises and little that's, is because they were in the perfect place at the perfect time to take advantage of that seemingly perfect opportunity. And it's just grown and grown and grown over the years, and from the 40s to the 50s to the 60s to the 2020s, like, it continues to go on, because once it's in the family, it's in the family, and they bring in more people, they build their own infrastructure to be able to maintain their success. So when we talk about why we don't have like little Africas, or why we don't have like big popping Black communities or thriving Black communities, it's honestly because people who are able to take advantage at that time, and I'm not saying that they're wrong, but people who are in the right place at the right time and able to take advantage of the capitalistic and separatist society, they do just that. So
I can dig it. What up, Anthony? What you? Because I'm a turn, when I start talking, I'm gonna get it back to the Black experience on some what JT has said, but I want to hear what you got to say on it.
Man, so deep. I agree with what Latoya and JT and Richie said. When it comes to like what JT said, when it comes to Black people congregating, coming together, being successful throughout history, it has been proven that they don't want us to be successful. They don't want us to group up because they fear us coming together, being like-minded, and being successful. Throughout history, Oklahoma, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, it's been proving in the past hundreds of years that over and over and over again, they don't want us to be successful.
Who is they? Black or other?
Other.
Okay. Go ahead.
Whatever agenda, whatever political agenda, whatever the case may be. I mean, you have to trace this all the way back to 1630, Bacon Rebellion. After Bacon Rebellion, that was when the first laws were enacted to where Blacks were not allowed to congregate. They weren't allowed to own firearms. They were not allowed to raise their hands towards white citizens. They were immediately put in jail. And following 1630, Bacon Rebellion, you read about it. Excuse me, read about it. And you see how everything just kind of trickled down from there, and the right for us to come together. I mean, you got to understand too, from the history that we're taught in this country, when we came here, our language, our ideology, our religious beliefs were stripped from us, and we were told how to think, when to think. We were told who to pray to and how to pray. So from then on, the idea of successful Black community has been kind of like ruined, destroyed, even though there are Black communities even now. Most people don't know. When you go to Maryland, some of the richest communities in this country are in Maryland, and they're not white communities. These are actual Black communities. And these are Black millionaires. You can research it. Maryland has some of the most populous neighborhoods of Black wealth. And I'm talking like 80, 85, 90% Black in these communities. There's a bunch of them in Maryland. Having seen people, having met a few of them, there is success. The fear is the majority being successful, because the most known Black Wall Street, we can say that Most people know about Black Wall Street, or know of Black Wall Street, not the full story of it, of the 300 plus people that were viciously attacked, murdered, all because of an incident leading to a kid being arrested, and a whole city, town being burned down. So when JT says they don't want us to be together, they don't want us to succeed, historically, that is 100% true. There have been plenty of documentaries created that tell the same narrative. What Richie and Latoya said, it's so much information, so much out there for people that should read. We talk about history in this country. We never hit on true history of America. We never hit on what Columbus saw when the Spanish invaders, I call them invaders, what the Spanish colonizers saw when they came to the Americas, what they saw when they came to South America, the things that people don't learn or don't choose not to learn and read about, the natives that they came and they saw. There's documentation written by the Spanish invaders, conquistadors, when they came to South America and to the North America, what we call North America anyways. Natives, they saw the pottery, the clothing, some of the plant life, so much stuff. They were like, hold on, we've seen it before. Oh shit, Africa. And we forget that the Africans had ships. We forget that Africans had a navy. They were travelers. There's so much stuff that we don't look at, we don't research to find out our culture. What is African culture? There's a saying, and I remember one of the rappers, Waka Flocka, he did an interview, and if you chop it up from the stuff, that crazy stuff that does come out of his mouth, that he talked about was he didn't want life being called black, and black people were pissed off when he made that comment. But we look into what, sorry, my dog. We look into what he meant by it. He did his research and reading about the natives that were on the East Coast, up and down Virginia. We talk about Trail of Tears. You talk about President Adams and all the his crusade against murdering so many Native Americans over here in this country. We talk about the Black Cherokee, Black Apache, Seminole Indians. The look of them were not your everyday, what they call the red man. No, these people were African looking, Afro and all. From pictures that were taken, pictures that were drawn of these inhabitants that were already here, their style, the culture, they saw the same stuff in Africa. These are things that people do not read and not have the intent to want to learn. So, this topic itself you have to delve into history. You have to look at facts that are there. You have to look at our progression forward and are we progressing? It's within our own community. It's people are succeeding, but we have to get rid of this mindset of if you succeed, you got to bring me up with you. No, get your ass up and fucking work for it. Everything that I have, everything that I can say we all have, because we work our ass off, blood, sweat, and tears. It's the mentality that we need to adopt within our own community. It's up, and I hate to want to say that some people do choose to be victims and stay victims. It's until you realize, what, you can't change the past, but you also need to make sure past isn't forgotten, to make sure the future doesn't become the past again. This is conversations. It's a deep conversation to have, because there's so many points that you need to hit on, and so many things that people need to read up on. And it's like certain conversations you can't have because people get offended when you talk about history and who said what, who wrote what. And we talk about history. History is dependent upon who wins wars.
But that's where it gets interesting, on the fact that I could agree to disagree with your version of the history. So
Yeah.
so like it was kind of like, so with JT, Rich, Latoya, like you said, you actually, I was going to say I agree to disagree to all three of their opinion before, until you molded it the way you did. You know how my mind works. You got to, it's like connecting the dots,
Yeah.
But the thing is we as Black, we have this mindset. I will never forget what our forefathers have been through. We I know better than that. We know better than that. But to not appreciate what I have compared to what they didn't have. How I have, I'm not saying that, you know, I can go walk in the whitest of all white neighborhoods and not be stereotyped. No, but, you know, generally in this city that I'm in and generally in other cities that I make sure I go to, because I know where not to step outside the box, we can go get that fancy car. We can go get that fancy house. We can go get them fancy shoes. We look, my ex, her nephew, this little motherfucker bought a pair of Yeezys. And I don't know nothing about what anybody else's opinion is when it comes to Kanye West clothing line, but the shit looked homeless as fuck to me. And he, $250 for these shoes. And I'm like, bro, you graduated high school last year. You got you your first, like, surprisingly, you got you a decent job that if you wanted to, you can make this a career. And you choose to blow your damn paycheck on some homeless looking shoes. And then this little motherfucker had the nerve to tell me that I forgot where I came from. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, look, I told him that, look, you lucky you Hispanic. You're not even half nigga. You just Hispanic. So I'm gonna let you slide on that. But what I'm getting at is we hold each other back by always wanting to remind each other about what our ancestors had to go through, as if this is why we shouldn't progress. And I got a problem with that. And because it's not being formatted when you say it that, no, you telling me that we shouldn't progress. But the way I'm hearing it is, hey, look, we destroy it for ourselves, right? JTSC said anything black that had, we destroy the shit. The Jews don't destroy the shit. Did I misword it?
Yeah, no, I never said that we as black people destroy our own shit. I said that when we build things up.
Okay, I got you. My bad. So with it getting destroyed, I'm gonna go on a limb and say we destroy majority of our own shit nowadays than the other people, because we hate on each other. We hate to see somebody else that we not cool with succeed, just like half the, what was it, down in Florida, not the NYNLA, the group of rappers that y'all had down there, they were like, they called themselves brothers, but the one killed the other one because he got a deal.
So, but before we get too deep in that, do we understand why that even happens? Like that's the thing. Like, people will bring up, you know, black on black.
I'm not trying to get on that. I'm not trying to get on that.
No. Yeah, no, I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying like it's a valid point of like, yeah, we destroy stuff, but we really got to understand, like, why do we self-destruct and self-sabotage?
So
like, that's really what it is. But go ahead.
Man, I like where that could go, because everybody know, well, y'all know my opinion on the whole, how black was conditioned to hate other black and being put in positions of authority over blacks to govern blacks, such as the house niggas, such as the head slave that would rape and demean the other male slaves, whether it be the other men or their wives or their kids, to let them know their place. Whether it was, and then when employment became a thing, you give a nigga a gun, he patrolled a hood, and we systematically start hating him because he's being paid to do this, while he's actually looking down on us. Like, yeah, we can go back to, that's a whole nother conversation, I love it. Let's do that one day. But my whole thing is what I don't like.
I would say this. Marcus, I would say this. Do an experiment. Get a bunch of mice and put them in a box. Throw one piece of cheese in the middle of the box and see what happens. Those mice is going to kill each other to get to that one cheese, because that's our nature as people. So when you go and look at, okay, yeah, I'm going to give this one person out of the hood this, when I'm starving and eating, I'm hungry over here, I'm going to do what I can to get my opportunity. I'm not coming for you because you have a nice car. I'm not coming after you because you have nice shoes. I'm coming after you because you drive this car, which means you have money, which means I can use your money that you got to pay my bills and eat. So if I have to kill you to get that, or I have to attack you to get that because I can't get it on my own, then that's what I'm gonna do. And that's the same analogy as dropping a piece of cheese in the middle of a bunch of rats. Is when you don't have those things in place, it's scarcity. So what do you think people are gonna do in scarcity? They're gonna do what they can to survive versus be logical. And all too often within our communities, that's what it is. It's scarcity. And so they're not acting because they hate you as a person, Marcus. They're acting because I need to eat. I need to have a roof over my shelter. And I can care less who I hurt to get it. This is my thing that I need to do for me and my family. Like the person that robbed me or tried to rob me at gunpoint. Pulled a gun at me at gunpoint, right? And he came to the conclusion that I'm just like him. I'm out here trying to survive like him. But he didn't care because at that moment, he had a baby in the car that he needed to feed and buy diapers for. I didn't have money to give him. So he was trying to rob me at gunpoint to buy his son diapers and food. That's just how it is, man. Like you can't like look at the situation and say, overall, it's mind over matter, that you can just change the way you want to change. You have to look at a person's circumstances and situations as to why they do the things they do before jump to the conclusion saying that, well, we attack each other or we're going to kill each other or we don't like each other or we're against each other. It's scarcity, my brothers. It's what we don't have is creating a disrupt.
But none of the, I can 100% agree with you. The scarcity, like, you know, a lot of them hard times, a lot of us on this, you know, the video right now have been through them hard times and have had to do some things that we're not too proud of to, you know, get what we need to get. But at the end of the day, why are we, as the darkest of dark, the only ones that has to have this conversation rather than have a way of what the Jews did, what the Italians do, what the Asians do? Why we can't do that to where we could be on a call talking about how we set up this thing and to keep it in the family? Like Latoya said, why we can't do that?
So I think that why we can't do it should be our closing arguments. I really do. We at that time because we close the time. So because I think you bring up a valid point about why we can't do it. And so I think everybody has a unique perspective about why we're not there or why we allegedly can't do it and why we feel like other cultures of people can do it. And it's really perspective in terms of we feel like, yeah, from the looks of it, they look like they did it. But we don't know what going on in their house. They probably could be struggling the same way we struggling. They probably could be eating spam sandwiches too. You know, so I don't want to start the closing argument, but I mean, you know.
Nah, go ahead. Look, we got 7 minutes.
All right, so
go ahead.
All right, so I'll start. So my notes I wrote down. From my understanding and my perspective, historically, people that look like us believed in peace and harmony, believed in collaboration. And so these are things that are innately in us, which is why when we go against it, it feels funny. Like we'll trust somebody with everything, and then when they double cross us, like we pissed off about it, we really want to hurt them, but we can't really draw ourselves to be able to do it. If you can, there's something wrong with you neurologically. You know what I'm saying?
Wrong with me? Shit. No.
Let me finish. Let me finish. I ain't done yet. So, historically and genetically, we believe in peace and harmony. And so, Marcus, you talked about this historical context of why do we kind of bring up history again and stuff like that. One of the reasons why is one, to show respect, to remain humble and grounded, and to really honor our ancestors, to say, hey, I do have all these luxuries, but I'm not going to forget what my responsibility is, because I have a responsibility to my ancestors and to my people, to my parents, to my grandparents, to my great-grandparents who bust their ass, who died in bloodshed for me to have the luxuries to be able to do what's right and impact our people. And so what that means for me specifically is that the reason why I believe that we can But the issue that we have is the area of sacrifice. So people that come to this country and be successful, they make a lot of sacrifices. I know people of like Haitian descent that'll come over and they'll go tend to a house, you know what I'm saying, and pool money, make sure stuff is together, and then like they branch out. Or even the nail salons or whatever, and that ethnicity of people will they'll own the shop, employ their own people, they save money, go buy another shop, you know, or employ their own people and go buy another shop. And so the problem with us is that because things are taken away so much and we don't really have nothing, we're afraid to really even give the little bit that we do have, and we forget that collaboration and cooperation are really our best friends. And that's what is innate in us, because we believe in peace and harmony. So for us, the sooner we believe and understand that we have to come together to be able to survive, and that me working with you isn't going to take food out your mouth, the better off we'll probably be. That's my 10.
I got you. Who else want to go ahead? Go ahead. Let's get it out.
I'm a believer that you can't achieve what you can't see, right? A lot of times people don't do things because they don't believe that it's possible, because they've never witnessed it. So with that being said, overcoming that mindset continues to be a challenge for a lot of people, because in historical context, a lot of people are still living our ancestors' history, or they're still currently living our ancestors' past. So they aren't able to have that foresight and know that down the line things could potentially be okay, or things could potentially be different, because they are stuck in survival. So trying to learn how to navigate and master the trap of survival, so you can actually get to a point of life where you're actually living and you're actually progressing and moving forward. That's just my take on it.
I appreciate that. Rich, Anthony, which one of y'all want to go first? Go next.
I would say, yeah, kind of going back to what JT was saying. It's like we have to understand that the damage has already been done, right? And I've been telling people this whole week. In order for this movement that's happening right now in this country to sustain, there's going to be a couple of us that we're going to have to tie up and put in the Maybach until the war is over, until the battle is over. Not because I want to, but I know that they're going to become more of a hindrance to the battle, because like LaToya was saying, you have to show me first before I'll believe what you're saying. I'm going to get on Master's side before I get on your side, because Master has proven to give me the cheese. I've been at the front of that rat line. So I'm going to sabotage and destroy until I see something better. And so for me, I would say, again, being conscious of what is happening, but also being conscious that there are some of us that are still stuck in that mode that won't change unless they see change first. That's all I have to say. Brother Anthony?
Go ahead, close us out, Anthony.
That is the thing. So my take on it is this. I think within our community, we're comfortable, and this is not all. I'm not gonna say all, but we're comfortable being uncomfortable. We're comfortable with the whole struggling. We're comfortable being told that the only way to succeed in this world is if we play basketball, if we play football, if we play some type of sport. We're comfortable being told that we can't achieve things. And until we get out of that mindset, we're going to stay where we are. I think the fear of past happening again, where we're successful, and if you go against what you're told, then people's businesses have been destroyed, people's lives have been taken away from them. So we get comfortable, be uncomfortable, because this is what we're forced. But then people got to realize that sometimes you got to step out of that the realm of being always constantly told what to do, and take that leap of faith. I think all of us here can be attested that when you step outside of your comfort zone, you step outside of what you've been told growing up, great things happen. And you have to go without fear. Understand the possibilities of what can happen, but go without fear, because then you realize that no man can truly stop you once you put your mind 100% your mind on something. You want to achieve something. And that's and this is my opinion, my perspective, but I think that a lot of people within our community are, again, comfortable with just being uncomfortable. And until we step outside of that, we're always going to be the same place where we are, fighting the same shit.
I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all giving the time this fine Tuesday. Go get your tacos. I'm going to go celebrate my 1%. And I'll holler at y'all.
All right, y'all. Good night.
Good night.
All right, peace.
Good night.
Good night.